Welcome to Beaver Tracks, a damn good podcast, where we bring you inside the world of OSU and share a behind-the-scenes look at Beaver Nation. I'm Grace Palmer, Regional Admissions Advisor based in Southern California. Today, we're joined by two current students who are a part of the Orange Media Network leadership team. Audrey Saiz is Editor-in-Chief of the Daily Barometer, OSU's student newspaper, and Macy Moore is Station Manager of our on-campus radio station, KBVR. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Good. So if you just want to introduce yourself, maybe where you're from, what your major is, and your role with the Orange Media Network.
Great. Well, my name's Audrey Saiz. I am a fourth year here at OSU. I'm in the creative writing program, and I have a minor in applied journalism. Currently, I'm the editor-in-chief of the Barometer, but previously I was also in the sports editor position, and I was a sports writer and a reporter. So I've been working with the Baro and a little bit with Beaver's Digest since a couple summers ago. So been up at OMN for only a few years now, but it's been really fun.
My name is Macy. I am a fourth year biochemistry and molecular biology major with an applied journalism minor, and I'm the station manager of KBVR-FM at OSU, which is our student-run radio station. I've been a volunteer DJ, which is kind of how you get your foot in the door at the radio station since winter term of my freshman year, and I wasn't really expecting to ever be the station manager, but it's been awesome.
Great, thank you. You kind of both covered your previous roles with OMN, but how did you get involved in the first place with your respective publications?
I heard about OMN through the applied journalism minor. So that minor does a lot of work, kind of like sending people to Orange Media Network. There's a internship credit that you need for that, and a lot of people will just do that internship through OMN. So that's how I ended up there. One of my professors was like, you should go work at the Barometer and Beaver's Digest, go write some articles for them. And so I joined, and it was just, I don't know, a very welcoming community. And then I slowly worked my way up to more editorial positions, but definitely through the applied journalism minor. So
I have a less direct path than that. I'm a biochemistry major, and I didn't pick up the applied journalism minor till about a year ago, so like pretty late in college. I found KBVR just through I saw an Instagram post and flyers up promoting the new DJ meeting, which is where we recruit new volunteer DJs. And I went, oh, that sounds kind of interesting. I grew up in music, in choir primarily, but didn't end up starting with choir initially at OSU. And it was something I tried later, but didn't end up liking as much as I liked the radio. I went to the meeting, you train, you go on the radio, and it was instantly the most fun thing I've ever done. Sharing my music and talking in the mic and having no one be able to interrupt me has been, it's still the best part of my week to come in and get to do that. And that's kind of how I found OMN. And then I was working a different job, honestly, and going for leadership in that position before I was reached out to last year by our current station manager last year, reached out to me and said, hey, we think you'd be a really good fit for the station manager. You should apply. And that derailed my entire life's plan. But it's been the best year ever. And this is the most fun job I've ever had. So.
Oh, that's great to hear. Good. For anyone maybe not familiar, would you mind briefly describing your roles as editor-in-chief and station manager?
Yeah. As editor-in-chief, so the Barometer is our campus newspaper, so we cover anything and everything that's happening, and then we also have a sports section of that. So as editor-in-chief, it's mostly a managerial position. We have a whole team of editors. I think there's 7 of us total, so I'm usually coaching them through editing articles that reporters have written. I do a lot less actual editing as editor-in-chief. And then I do work a lot with breaking news and student government coverage and that kind of stuff, the faster turnaround articles. I'll do a lot of editing there, but definitely my position is a lot of management, a lot of making sure things are happening, and then also working on our monthly print issues.
I feel of everyone here, Audrey spent maybe the most long days and late nights in the office. Yeah, you did have to do a lot of stuff that feels really quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Sweet, yeah. And then I'm also in a managerial position, but I still like I don't know how much you Audrey, do you write a lot still? Or is it
I write a little bit for breaking news, but
just for
other
breaking?
not much.
No. Yeah. So I'm also in a managerial position, but I do get to keep like I keep my once a week radio time slot. It's like a good way to keep myself like I love to still DJ, so despite being the station manager, it's a good way to keep myself like very in tune with it. But yeah, so I manage a lot of recruitment of new DJs. I manage our current DJs. We have about 140-ish current student DJs, which is like a lot of people. And it's a lot of people to put on a schedule and get them into their time slots in a week. Like we're getting really full right now. I manage a 4-person, 5 plus me hired staff. So I have an assistant station manager, productions director who makes like our promotional materials, like our audio stuff that plays on the radio that's not music, basically. I have a music director who finds all of our new music, and I kind of help her do that. And I have a podcast director who directs our podcast, our podcast segment and of the radio station. And basically, I send a lot of emails, plan events, answer a lot of questions, help DJs. I try to help us do like a lot of bonding events and get people to know each other because DJing can be a really in the booth, do your thing, get out, never talk to anyone else ever again sort of situation. But yeah, it's similar to Audrey. I do a little bit less. I would say the rest of my staff gets to do theoretically more of the like fun, like my job is fun, but they get to do a lot of the more fun, creative stuff. And I get to do a lot of like the making it realistic and making it actually happen. And I answer a lot of questions every day.
I can imagine. Oh, great. Thank you. So when you first took on these leadership roles, did you have any goals you wanted to achieve for your outlet?
Yeah, that's actually something that we work into kind of our application process as well. So we're like elected through a board, so that's how we apply to the position. My goals were I wanted to bring in a lot of more multimedia content, and kind of get our social media more like up to the current standards, since especially students, that's where they're getting their news. And I think we've done super well with that. My assistant editor, Kara Nelson, she is amazing and handles social media pretty much for me. And so she's done a lot with just getting news on there, just to tell our audience and help them get to our website. We've been trying to incorporate more reels as well, which is a slower process, but that's going pretty well too. Just getting more of like the visual side of news incorporated into our coverage, since that's what people are looking for now, especially with how addicted to social media people are. And then on top of that, I really wanted to build like more of a community atmosphere in the Barometer. We have a lot of reporters. I think right now we have like, I don't know, usually it's anywhere between 20 to 40 reporters who are like working with us and like coming to meetings, and it fluctuates obviously through the terms, but just kind of getting people working up in the bullpen, which is our like main office space, and like getting that connection happening, because that's how we can like find more stories and like find the sources we need or connect to whoever we need on campus. So those are two of my big goals, just like honestly, like bringing our team together and then also connecting with the wider audience through our social media stuff.
Yeah, I think your guys' socials have been great this year, just to say. I feel like I see the Barometer posting all the time and it's looking great. And I really like when you like take the editors or the writers like out of news and have them do like fun stuff. You'll have them do fun stuff in reels that isn't always newsy. I feel like it makes students feel so connected to student media, which I really like. So I don't know, good on you. And then my goals for this year were I wanted to like diversify our content and build our numbers a lot. And I wanted to, what else was on my list? I feel like I had a lot of stuff to do. And I really wanted to also kind of build the DJ community. We struggle with almost the same thing, but even more, I think, because it's all volunteer. So besides me and my 4 staff members, all of our 140 whatever DJs are volunteers. So they come and do this because they love it. And some people just want to come in and play their like 1 hour of music a week, and that's okay. But we've been working really hard to make sure that the staff is like really approachable for DJs, that they feel like they can like come up to the bullpen and work up with us or come talk to us, get to know us, come to our events. I felt like in the past, the staff has felt very like pushed away from the DJ community. And this year I've been really proud of my team and how personable they've been and how connected they are to DJs has been awesome. And then this year, we've also started sort of a similar format to this, actually, where we've been interviewing alumni over our past 60 years because 2025 is KBVR's 60th anniversary on OSU's campus, which is awesome. And so my assistant station manager, Clara Schmidt, has been like tracking these people down over the past 60 years who have ever been on KBVR and saying, hey, we would love to interview you. And we've gotten someone from every decade. Like we've talked to people who are a part of the founding cohort of KBVR. Like we talked to like a married couple who met founding KBVR and like got married, and like it's just been really awesome because we don't have our history recorded like that outside of like what the library has. So that wasn't like I wanted to do like an interview style format with the radio to delve more into the community in Corvallis, because I think that's what's great about radio. I didn't even think to do it with alumni, and I'm so glad that that's what it ended up turning out to be, because we've gotten so connected with our community through that, which was a big goal of mine, and we've diversified our content and programming a little bit. We have way more special programming than I think I've seen in my 4 years on the radio station. And I think, yeah, those were two of my biggest goals, building that DJ community and gaining those numbers. Like when we look fun, more people tell their friends to come DJ, we get more DJs. It's awesome. And building in that diverse content that gives back to our community were my two goals.
That's amazing. Oh, I love that. Yeah, it sounds like both of you have been able to kind of move your outlets forward. We've been doing we did a similar kind of alumni series on Beaver Tracks, and have been able to talk to amazing alumni that have been so accomplished and hear how their experience at Oregon State kind of led them to that. So shameless plug. But that's amazing, especially, yeah, getting people from all decades is such a good idea to kind of tie it all together.
Yeah, we've been having it's been so fun. And it's funny because almost no one we've talked to works in broadcast anymore. Like almost no one does radio still, but they'll be like, a city councilwoman, and she'll be like, oh, I use my speaking skills I learned on the radio every day in this job. And just like, you really hear how it influences people. And I like that a lot.
Right. Speaking of which, if you could choose, what has been your favorite part or a couple of your favorite parts of working with OMN during your time at OSU?
I feel like this is such a cliche answer that we probably all say, but I think the community of Orange Media Network is like unlike any other community. There's so many, like all of the mediums are working toward a very similar goal, and because of that, it's such a like inclusive and welcoming atmosphere. And I think that's so special. You can like walk into OMN with zero experience and leave, even if you're only there for like a year, you leave with so much like that you've gained or learned. And I think just like the skills that you can pick up at any of the mediums will help you with like anything that you do in your life. And I think that's super amazing. Yeah.
I'm gonna second that and say that I am a biochemistry major. I was supposed to be working in lab science. I think I'm moving into a science communication, public broadcast journalism realm because of this job. And that was never something I expected. And I am like so happy and so privileged to have gotten to do it. Like I love being a biochemistry major at Oregon State. Like I've had a great experience, but I was kind of hitting a wall where it just for some reason was not connecting with me in the way I expected it to. And by doing this job and like picking up the journalism minor and like living in this community here, I've really found my niche of what I think I want to continue to do, which I'm super happy with. And I've just gotten like a lot of opportunities. Like I just don't really think that through, like not, if I didn't have this job and wasn't in this community, like I wouldn't have been able to work with NPR like 2 months ago. And it's like stuff like that makes me feel crazy and very privileged. And our student leadership cohort this year has been so tight. and we've all been so driven, and it's just kind of awesome to be in an environment with like 9 other people who feel exactly like me, which is like, I want to put everything into this to make it as good as it can possibly be. Like it's very, I don't know, it keeps you very driven even when stuff is really hard. It's very supportive.
Yeah, that's such a good kind of example of what college is for, and being able to really explore all of your opportunities. And especially at a big school like Oregon State, there's sometimes a misconception that you're really just stuck in your own lane. And so it's really awesome to hear that you've been able to, both of you have, majors and minors in different areas, and be able to really expand your knowledge. And then in some cases, it impacts your life trajectory, which is amazing. What did you do with NPR, Macy?
I got to do a week-long internship with NPR like 2 months ago now, a month and a half. It was called Next Generation Radio. It's been running for like 20 years now, and they move city to city to all the different NPR outlets. So I got to work with OPB, and you sign up and you pitch an audio multimedia story. And if they pick up your pitch, you get to go work at OPB for the week, and they help you record, write, photograph, and someone illustrates your story, and it gets published like through NPR online, and it's actually playing on OPB broadcasting this weekend. And it was crazy. Like it was like a professional experience that I like never in a million years thought I would ever get to do. And I was like shocked when they picked me up for it, and it was really affirming of all of the skills I'd gained in just like 6 months of working this job. I was like, oh wait, I like have learned like a lot, like enough that NPR said yes and wants to run this story with me. So it was awesome.
That is so cool. Do you mind sharing what the story was?
Yeah, I did a piece about, so every session that they do for Next Generation Radio has a theme. Our theme was Moments of Truth. So, and you're supposed to focus on one person within the local community. I was the only person who got to pick Corvallis because I live here and everyone else was from Portland. So I focused on Tara Elkin. She's a hairstylist at Buzzed Haircut & Co. in Corvallis. That's a gender-affirming hair salon. So I got to interview her and talk about like, why does she work at a gender-affirming hair salon? Why is that important for people? And it was just like awesome. And it was just like community and someone that I really wanted to highlight. And it was so fun to really like see her in her element and get to photograph and write about her and just like see it come to light and know that I am like highlighting someone who is helping so many other people like live the life that they want to live. It was super fun.
That is so cool. I'm so glad you got the opportunity to do that and that NPR picked it up. That's so exciting. All right. Kind of speaking of which, what kind of professional skills do you think you'll be taking with you into the future after you graduate from OMN?
I think there's so many. I think like just being able to communicate is something that you like are forced to learn how to do at OMN. Even like before you're a student leader, like you are on a deadline as a reporter. You usually have a week. You have to send emails or cold call people that you have never met. And like that skill in itself is so important for any job you're ever gonna do. I think the other huge skill is kind of like conflict management, and just like being able to be in a leadership role and like manage so many people. You have to know how to like navigate any situation that's going to come up. And like obviously that translates to so many jobs or even like classes when you're working in a group setting and you're trying to like get your group going. I think it's just super helpful to know kind of how to do that. And then like specifically reporting wise, I came in having never written an article, and now I've written, I mean, so many, like probably 60 at least. And like I've gotten the opportunity to have an internship over the summer with the Snowden program at University of Oregon. And like you just get so many connections and so many avenues of learning how to report, learning how to conduct an interview, learning how to like then take that interview and put it into an article, into like something that's gonna go online and be published. I think there's just a ton of stuff you can pick up, and it really depends on which medium you go to, but I think at all of them, Macy can probably speak to this, like you really just learn how to communicate and like conduct yourself in a professional way, even at a student media company. So
I was about to say, yeah, I'm so like, I think I'm very level-headed. Like, Audrey, do you ever get the moment where you're like talking to your staff and something comes out of your mouth and you're like, I didn't even know I could do that. Like, it's like I'm like impressing myself with like the level of composure and the ability to communicate that I've gained here. Like, I think that happened to me like this week. I was like, someone was really frustrated and I was like, it's gonna be fun. Like, so calm. And I'm like, I don't even know where this came from. And I think I'm really happy about gaining like that communication skill here. And I think that'll translate to the rest of my life, like being able to work with people in a way that makes sure that they know you care about them and that you care about whatever problem they're having, but also keeping it, keeping it calm and keeping it cool. I've gotten I don't think I was ever not level headed, but it's like I have gotten very level headed, very good at dealing with like people who are dealing with a lot of stressors and understanding like what the problem is with them. I've gotten really good at, I don't know, managing a team and managing a lot of 140 people is a lot of people. And it kind of freaks me out sometimes, but I think I've gotten really good at doing my best to be like a manager and someone they respect, but also make sure I try to know like as many DJs' names as possible. And I try to like tune into their shows and make sure I know them. And I think that like the care aspect of it, I have seen to be really effective. And I'm going to take that like throughout my life, like making sure it's the little stuff that matters. Like the DJs really care that I'm listening to them, that I know their show name. I'm going to keep taking that. And then, yeah, for professional skills, I'm like good at so many things here now. I'm a better writer and a better photographer, and I'm better at editing audio, and I'm a better public speaker, and I'm doing stuff that I never expected to do. But I think it does really link back to communication at team level, outside, all of those things. That is what every alumni we've talked to has said that they use the most is I became such a good communicator at KBVR. And I think that is what I've done at OMN.
That's fantastic. Those interpersonal and managerial skills will carry you through your entire career, no matter what field you end up in. So that's amazing that you've been able to have that experience as a student. Other than what we've kind of covered, are there any other somewhat unique experiences that you've been able to participate in through the Orange Media Network?
I think, yeah, there's a lot. I think a big part of OMN is kind of the push that they have to connect us with like professionals in whatever field we're in. So like last year, I got the opportunity to go up to the Seattle Times for like a weekend journalism conference, where we got a mentor, we went over our like job materials with them, and they were like an actual reporter at the Seattle Times. And then we just spent the week kind of shadowing the editorial team and then going out on the field and chasing down a story in a couple hours, that kind of thing. And I think those conferences are like just so helpful and so exciting to be able to do as a student journalist. Just being able to see what it looks like past college, because honestly, it's very similar. And I think realizing that like you are doing like the real work as a student, it's just kind of inspiring. And you're like, oh, well, maybe I can actually do this professionally. So I think just being able to go to those conferences is super helpful. And that's something that OMN definitely pushes us to do. So.
Yeah, I totally agree. My staff got to tour all classical radio in Portland. They're in like a beautiful new station they got like very recently, and we got to go check it out and like talk with all of the folks who work with them and who do all their production, who talk on the radio. And even for me, it was like a clicking moment of like, this is a job that some people have that isn't just like a thing I do in college. And yeah, I think getting to go see all classical and what like a professional, like awesome space that is actually really similar to our space, despite, I mean, they only play classical music, which we don't do, but like the very similar vibe was the first time I really ever noticed like, oh, I could do this. Like that only clicked with me like a couple months ago, like in the fall term. So I think stuff like that, I totally agree. Meeting professionals, working with them, getting connected, that is the very unique part of OMN. And that is the part that could take you from wanting to do lab research to wanting to work in radio, because you realize that radio has jobs, and maybe you didn't think about that before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Just that kind of exposure to a different field is incredible. I guess kind of zooming out a little bit before we go, what, if anything, sticks out? What kind of attracted you to Oregon State in the first place when you are a prospective student? And do you have any advice for any future Beavers coming in this fall?
Oh, we were just chatting about this, but I think Macy and I were both looking at OSU kind of during the COVID era. So like neither of us had come to the campus before starting here. Um, I think for me, OSU stood out because of its science programs. I was planning on going into STEM fields, and I think just the like community of OSU and kind of how big the science programs is, that's what initially drew me in. And I think getting here and seeing how interconnected the campus is and kind of how everything overlaps was super cool. I think to any prospective students, like I would honestly just tell them to try things that are out of your comfort zone. I think Macy and I probably both did that a little where we were like, oh, what's this cool thing? Let me go try it out. And now we're both like wanting to pursue a career in journalism, which like that was never something I considered before coming here. But I think just seeing like where something can go if you give it a chance is super important, especially in college.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. But what drew me to OSU, honestly? So anytime you bring up OSU, I mean, I'm from California. We get a lot of students from California. Anytime I brought up that I was thinking about going to OSU, it ended up being my first choice to go here. People would always go, oh my God, my nephew went to OSU and loves it, or blah, 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 blah. I know went to, or I'm an OSU alum and I loved it. Like people always say that they loved going to OSU and that like they love Corvallis, that the community is really good. And for someone who's going to move to a state that they've never been to before, that feels kind of nice to know that you know people who went here and really liked it. And I never heard bad things. And that made me really confident about applying. I was like, wow, so many people had a really good experience. And I was just liking what I was seeing. I wanted to go into STEM fields. I'm a biochemistry major. Like it ended up just making a lot of sense. So I think that was what helped get me here without ever being able to like see the school or do a lot of the stuff that we couldn't really do during COVID. And then while being here, I'm going to say, yeah, just like try stuff and get involved. I think a lot of people fall into like doing academics so hard that they don't look around at everything else that's going on that's not academic. Like get a campus job or like go join a club, like do stuff that you didn't expect. We didn't even talk about my other job, but I work on the campus bowling alley, and that is the second most fun thing I've ever done at Oregon State. That's a wonderful community and a really strange job to do at college, and it's been super fun. So I think that really helped me when I was like, oh, I moved here and I don't know anyone. What really helped me was like going to work and going to the radio and like getting out of my like 100-person freshman classes and like meeting people a little more closely connected. So yeah, get involved. That's what changed my life at OSU was doing random stuff all the time. So.
Oh, I love to hear that. I'm so glad both of you have found a home at OSU and will always be here after you graduate. Anything else you want to say before we go?
Go Beavs.
Go Beavs. There we go.
That's all I got.
Thank you both so much for joining us. We really appreciate you sharing your experience and good luck with everything after graduation. Congratulations on graduating. And to those listening in, thank you for joining us. We hope you tune in for our next episode of Beaver Tracks. It will be a damn good time.